Hi everyone. Today I have the lovely Stella on the podcast. I met Stella through an Inspired Souls networking group where I met so many amazing women. I've had a couple of them on the podcast already. And this is your reminder to begin with. When you go to aligned events and groups and the things that you're called to, that's when you're going to meet the right people for you. And I was just sharing with Stella beforehand. I didn't know her maybe 6 weeks ago, and this is our fourth live call that we've had together, or fourth time that we're properly connecting.
I love that. Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is lovely to be here. Thanks for having me on, Ellen. I love this.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I actually had a Reiki session with Stella just yesterday, which was so magic. And I love meeting new people and sharing our gifts. And we've both had a session with each other, which has been so amazing. But I think Reiki is something, and energy healing in general. The spiritual community, I feel like, know it and get it. But I think it is a missing piece of the puzzle to a lot of people who have never done any energy work. I know I've recommended clients of mine to go and have Reiki or energy healing sessions if they feel called to it. And they always come back to me like, oh my God, wow, that was amazing. Because it shifts something that you can't always do on your own. And also the insight that you receive is often things that your logical mind couldn't like understand. So I love it that my clients can go and get Reiki, come back, and then we can like integrate the insights. So, oh, this came up for me. I don't know how to like bring that into my life and to what to do about it. But yeah, I'd love to hear. How did you get into Reiki and everything else that you're into?
Yeah. Well, the Reiki journey is really interesting in itself, how, we just keep showing up with the steps, don't we? And lo and behold, a whole new avenue turns up. And it was really like that with the Reiki specifically, because that have been maybe 12 years ago. I didn't even really know what Reiki was. Exactly like you said, Reiki was a swear word then, and it's still a little bit misunderstood now, or just, it's not always such a mainstream thing. So it's really interesting. I kind of turned up at a festival. I was feeling quite stressed in my life at that time, feeling quite anxious in my life at that time, and at this kind of really beautiful, well-being spiritual event. And I had a taster session. And from that first 20-minute session, I think I paid £10 for it. I was like, I have to not only have this again, but I have to know how to do this for other people. I just have to. And so from that very session, I sought out the Reiki training that was there was actually a Reiki trainer there. I got chatting and just, where can I learn to do this? How can I access this in my life as a regular thing? Because I just loved it, that feeling. And you've described it really beautifully, that energetic feedback, and we connect in at a deeper level, that energetic work that you can't always describe sort of, what does it do on the tin? What is Reiki? You can only put that into so many words. It's something that you really have to experience energetically, isn't it? And so, on the words, on the can, on the tin kind of front, we can say, yes, it's energy work, and it works to, release energy and flow through the meridians and all of that stuff. We can kind of explain it, but it's for me, it's really linking up the unseen, the energetic world with the physical, with the mental, with the emotional, with the spiritual, and with our place in the collective. So to me, it's integrating that really holistic picture. And yeah, so from that festival, going back to your original question of how I got into it, just the rest was history. I just took my training 1, 2, and 3 as soon as I could in quick succession, not because I was trying to rush it, but because I just couldn't get enough of it. And so I did my 3 to 6 in between level 1 and 2, and then I got the practitioner, and then I got some experience for the next sort of year practicing, and then I was like, I have to teach this as well, and do level 3 and attune other people. And yeah, and I still love Reiki today. I still love it. I still utilize it in my own life as a tool, not the only tool, but it's a great tool. And I still love sharing it. And it was a pleasure to work with you on your
Yes,
session.
absolutely loved it. And I love how you shared because it's really about listening to your intuition, going to the events that you feel called to. Like you said, you went to a festival. You don't
Mm,
know the reason why you're going. And I'm the
yeah.
same. Sometimes I go to something and I'm like, oh, I went to a twerking dance class once because I felt the nudge to go there. And then I mean, I loved it anyway, but I ended up meeting a woman there that ended up becoming one of my clients. And it's like, I didn't go there to find a client. I just went there
Yeah.
because I felt drawn to go there. So it's like, how can I detach from the outcome and just trust that I'm going to be led to where I'm supposed to be led? Because there's many times where, everyone is going to resonate with feeling lost at some point in your life. Oh, what's the
Mm.
next move? What's the next direction? And logic can't always get us to where we want to be. And we have to just like trust and keep moving forwards and seeing what comes to us. And I love how much you love Reiki and that you're like, oh, I just wanted to do the next one, do the next one, do the next one. Because I think as well, there's so many people out there who maybe don't believe that they can ever do something they enjoy. I remember just thinking, I'm going to have to work a office job, something I don't really like for my life because that's just what everyone else does. But the more
Mm.
you hear stories from other people actually like doing work and living a life they absolutely love, the more you realize it's possible for you. And then in my session yesterday, because like you shared, you can't always tell people what the outcome's going to be because no one
No.
knows what the outcome's going to be. You'll feel a nudge if you know it's for you, and I think it is something you do have to experience. And every session is going to be different depending
Hmm.
on where you are in your life, what your energy's like at that period of time. Also, the practitioner as well. People pick up on slightly different things, and yours was such reassurance for me yesterday when you shared that all my energy centers are really clear. I was like, yes, this just shows like the work that I've been doing. But still stuff comes up, which obviously needs to be cleared. I had like
Mm.
something in my throat chakra needed to be cleared, like an energy that was, draining me that needed to be cleared as well. And I do feel so much lighter already just from yesterday. And the
Mm.
insights you get, a lot of the time you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. But also you can receive things that you may not have thought about. So yesterday, Mary Magdalene came through in the reading, and she's here to, well, supporting me to support women with this sexual revolution. And I was like, oh wow, like
Yes.
that's not something I'd necessarily like consciously thought of. I can see it's 11:11 now as well as
Ah,
I'm saying these
amazing.
words. One, 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 one. But I was sharing with you, I've had so many conversations about like sexuality and conscious sex and like women's empowerment recently that it also didn't surprise me. And it just kind of for me plants a seed. Oh, where like I wonder what's going to happen there or where that could potentially lead to.
Absolutely. And I say loved our session. And that's such a good example of, I don't know what's going to come through. It's really interesting work as a practitioner, and I don't get Mary Magdalene through. I can't think of another occasion, it might have been maybe one or two over sort of 9 years if I really think about it. But that was a long time ago. And, obviously I didn't know the things you were working on, the conversations you were having about sexuality. And it's really interesting as a practitioner to kind of work with this energy and be really guided by it. And I think you've really summed that up really well as well, that it's that beautiful feminine aspect. I don't mean Reiki is a purely feminine energy, but I mean the feminine trait of going with the flow and seeing what comes up. We both know that Reiki works for the highest good only. That's outside of my hands and my control. I'm just here channeling, and the energy is doing the amazing work. That higher intelligence, that innate intelligence that we have within us and around us in all living things, as Reiki taps into that's the healing force, that's the modality.
Love it. And then I know you're also a writer, speaker, astrologer, tarot reader, aromatherapist. Was Reiki the introduction into all of this, or
So, in a way, I want to say yes, because I feel like, and it's interesting you asked me that question because I posted this morning advertising my Reiki training for next week, which I'm really excited about. I do regular trainings. And one of the things I put in the post was that you never know where Reiki is going to lead you because it works for the highest good. So for me, I speak about, quite openly what Reiki did to change my life. What it gifted me was that sense of, more calm every day and reducing anxiety and feelings of loss and unworthiness. It's really assisted me with all that. But you also just never know where this higher path is going to take you. And there's 1,000,000% surety that Reiki had a hand in that, in terms of, because it really sort of supports our lifestyle in terms of, what's for the highest good and going with the flow. And it's kind of like, it's like I suppose the spiritual teachings and practices amongst the Reiki journey. as well as the Reiki itself. It's all for your highest good, like other modalities and other tools, I'm sure work in that way similarly. But yeah, I'm, how Reiki throws up these avenues again, really intuitively, really just working with the flow and your guidance and your team. Then yeah, it did really.
Amazing. Yeah, we never know where our path's going to lead us. And I think a lot of us put pressure to want to know what the end goal is. But if you can just focus on what you're enjoying, and then the next step will come available to you. And I know that you do this a lot in your work because you also support people with, their purpose. But yeah, connecting with what you're passionate about and what you
Mm.
love.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so integral, isn't it? And I think that's the kind of golden thread that runs through everything, and not just Reiki, but is just that showing up with what lights you up. And that's so key, and yet something that's so easy to overlook. And actually, you reminded me of that in our coaching session. So thank you, because our exchange has been, nothing short of gold. Gold being the operative word, because we love gold as a high frequency to work with. But yeah, so it's been really great to know that, and to experience that, and then see other people, like other practitioners like yourself, working in that energy. And I think it is really supportive. And this is the thing about my current journey, as I'm very excited to say now, as an author, because I've got a little book coming out this week. This week and next week I'm kind of going to be launching, and I'm just waiting for the copies. Actually, they're in London at the moment, so it's very exciting. They'll be with me very soon. And now as an author, it's been, it's definitely not always been the logical moves. It's definitely not been convenient. It's not always been financially viable. It's not been comfortable, but it's what lights me up. That passion that you mentioned is something that the more you follow, the more clear the guidance is around, you're on the right track. It's not always, it's not always what you would do if you were just listening to the conditioning of the world. But
I know.
it's amazing.
I love what you shared there around doing what you're passionate about doesn't mean that you're not going to sit in discomfort. Actually, a lot
Yeah.
of the time you still are. And I think that, yeah, people can see, especially people who have their own businesses, and glorify it, thinking that looks amazing. They can work on their own schedule. They're doing the work that they love. And it is, I wouldn't change it for the world. But there still is a lot of uncomfort with it. Like the
Yeah.
financial part can be really hard. Not everyone really understands like the amount of work and energy that it takes to do it and to trust and stay on track. And I mean, most business women I've spoke to, we all have wobbles every now and then where we're like, oh, should we just get a normal job? Like, how easy would that be?
Yep.
But then, like, we know would be so uncomfortable, even more uncomfortable doing
Yeah.
something that you don't like. If you know the direction you're headed and you know you're aligned with your purpose, then you can handle like the challenges because you know where you're going.
Yeah.
And it is a practice of trust too, but the more you're doing what lights you up, the more you're going to be guided to wherever you're supposed to be. I actually looked at your
Absolutely.
Instagram this morning and it really made me laugh. Some people might resonate with this, but you said a quote which said, "The more fucked up your life has been, the more epic shit you're here to create."
Yeah, I really feel that firsthand, and I know many of us are working with that energy. So, yeah, I think I'm getting more comfortable with just saying it how it is. Speaking out a bit more about my mission, which again was a bit of a swear word for me, and something that the cringe factor in talking about all this stuff, and it's really interesting there on my bio, writer speaker, because all of the talks I've done around my book topic and the holistic work is rarely comfortable. That speaking out has been something I've had to push through, but I just know it's part of my mission. It's part of what I'm here to do. It lights me up in the sense of, it's just, you have to just keep following. It's a drive and a calling and a passion. And it's really interesting that it's not always comfortable, but I am getting better at talking about it. So it's interesting you pulled that out.
Yeah, and it's not always been comfortable for me either. I think people can perceive, oh, you look really confident speaking about this stuff. The first time I was speaking about past lives, spirituality, the mind-body connection on Instagram, I was like, oh God, like people are gonna like send me hate messages or tell me I'm wrong or, just say horrible things. And actually, no one has. But I think mine is connected to a past life. I was drowned for being a witch, like back in the day. So
Hmm.
I think there's been like a fear of persecution. I'm worried that people are gonna shut me down or, hate on me. But now, like, it gets easier the more you do it and the more you
Mm.
experience when I do this, nothing bad happens. Also, even if it did, I would be fine. And I did write a post on periods on Threads once. And I got 55 hate messages before I did delete the comment because I was like, I don't want this negative energy on me. But it didn't
Wow.
bother me. I was like, this is fine. I can handle it. And a
Mm.
lot of the time, it's not personal either. When people share things, they're triggered. They're triggered for a reason. And we can be the person that triggers people sometimes. But knowing, as long as you've said something with love and like your intention was like love rather than, putting people down or whatever else, then like we can't control how other people respond to what we're saying.
No, absolutely. And it's that bravery and resilience that we keep showing up and pushing through. And like you're saying, coming back to the self, okay, the nervous system is safe, like I can do this, and we're not going to be persecuted in this lifetime. But we're also, it's so incredibly powerful that we're recognizing our energetic imprints of the past and working with that and collectively clearing that and showing up together. And I just got to say, I think it's an amazing time for women right now doing that work and shining our light and on our big missions. And it's amazing. And I think, yeah, I would love to also think that the men are coming with us, like we're in it together. But I think we're just really, really shining at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I do think we've touched a bit on pain, but a lot of our challenges and obstacles are our biggest portals for growth. And I think a lot of people think that we should feel happy, happy, happy all the time. That's just not the reality. And yeah, like all of us go through different periods of life with breakups, maybe physical health struggles, losing jobs. And even if we know that it is the best thing for us, it is still hard. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge that and say like we all need to send ourselves love, but know that everything in our life is trying to align us with our highest path and
Mm.
purpose. So sometimes we just need to surrender to it, be like, oh, do you know what? I feel like my life's falling apart, but this is only going to support it to come back together and it's going to be even more aligned than before.
Yeah, absolutely. And whilst in our human mind, we can't understand that we've chosen this, or, we wouldn't choose it. It's down here on this earth plane. There's always opportunities. And this is one of the things I write about. My book, From Grit to Grace, is not that we go from our grit and from our pain to the grace and it's all fine. It's these beautiful evolutionary cycles of deep challenge, deep loss, like you say, it's deep pain. And what that purpose is for is we grow and evolve beyond that every time through our innate, wonder and resilience and our skills. It's our beautiful like human spirit, that drive, that, for those of us that choose to evolve from our pain, that we do that with a bit more wisdom and a bit more success, and evolution every time. So we're always doing from grit to grace. And we've
Yeah.
always got the grit and the grace in us. And yeah, I think you explained it really well, that it can really serve the next leg of the journey, however that looks. So it's
Yeah.
interesting work.
I feel like it's constant cycles of like life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth.
Yeah.
And the more we're learning that we're actually supposed to be aligned with nature's seasons, there
Mm.
is spring, summer, winter, autumn, and the same with women. We all have our menstrual cycles, the phases of the moon all affect us, and we're not supposed to be full bloom all the time. And every
Mm.
single phase of your life holds so much magic, even if it doesn't feel good.
Yes, yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? And you touched on it with the witch wound and the persecution, the fear of, and my biggie was similarly was, fear of being judged, fear of being criticized, and it's all that energy, and but to keep coming back to soothe ourselves and go again, that's that resilience again, isn't it? And that's that evolution, and yeah, I think that's really inspiring for other people who maybe, still feel a struggle to shine their unique light.
Definitely. And feeling grounded is a huge benefit to everyone. I know I've been
Yeah.
someone who's felt like burnt out in the past, trying to do this, that, and everything, worrying, overthinking. And you can't, it doesn't benefit us at all. So getting grounded is such a supportive tool. And then balancing our masculine and feminine energy, we all need to do it. And we all need the reminders. Like me and you are both like feminine energy queens, but even us, we need the reminders too,
Yeah.
because it can be hard when we're like, oh, I need to be productive, I need to take action on this. And we can get caught up in that. And then we need to remember, like, no, you need to rest. No, you need to have fun. Your intuition is always guiding you, and you just need to trust. And I
Yeah.
think that's the power of having a supportive community around you, or working with coaches, healers,
Mm.
and people that can, remind you of that when you need to, too.
So it's so powerful, which is exactly what you did for me on our call. And your coaching was magic. It was really, really great. And it really inspired me to take the pressure off myself, that reminder, because, the thing is, we're so conditioned, aren't we, externally? We can be, like you say, we can be so aligned in our feminine energy and then get hit with, X, Y, and Z, all the things we're bombarded with, social media, providing just how we live in this culture and in this part of the world. We're up against it. So it's really, really interesting. And what you did when you reminded me so beautifully and so articulately and with so many tools and great wisdom and great magic, and what that did is it then kind of reminded me to follow this thread of trust and release. And I realized, like, by doing that I was dropping the resistance. And so the thing, I was going back into more of a state of allowance rather than excuse me, chasing. And it was just that energy shift. And possibly, it might not have looked any different on the outside, but to me internally, I was relaxed. I was still showing up to do my work. I was still, doing the things I need to do and provide for my family. But I was remembering I don't have to do it like in fear, in panic. Right, let's go quick. I've got to do this and I've got to do this first. It's like, okay, I can go for my swim. I'm working today, but I can also do X, Y, and Z, like you say, the grounding, the following, the intuition, and doing all the things from a much more balanced place. And that's so powerful.
I love it. Those internal shifts are
Mm.
magic, and the way that we feel and the way that we think. And you shared as well after, I actually felt so much more motivated after the session.
Yeah.
So this is the reminder that when you are prioritizing yourself and your feminine energy, which probably looks like resting, grounding, having fun, taking time off, releasing the pressure, then you're actually gonna probably feel more motivated to do the work that you're gonna do. So it's your reminder that it's actually productive, and it's only aligned action that supports us. So often when we're in our heads or in kind of a panicky phase, that we're like, oh, I just need to do all of these things. I just need to get it done. And we're not actually really doing the things that are going to get us to where we want to be, actually taking time out to listen to our intuition. We're probably going to get a nudge to do something that doesn't make sense, but is actually going to get us so much closer to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love that.
I'd love to hear before we finish up, what would be your biggest piece of advice for anyone listening? What would you love to tell people or shout from the rooftops?
Love yourself deeply.
Mm,
Yeah, that's always, I've been asked that question a few times. It's always the first thing that comes to mind because I think just everything starts there. And for me, that has been one of the real core wounds, that has given me so much of that purpose to help others as well, from a place of needing to do it myself. And that work is constant, like in a positive way, not in a um just being really real. Like, the work is constant, isn't it? The personal growth, the spiritual growth, the development. If we're growing as people, then the work is constant.
I
And
think
that's,
the more we learn about ourselves, the more we realize how much more there is to learn. But
yeah,
it's fun.
always. Yeah. And if you think you've got to a place where you can stop, then that's a comfort zone, isn't it? There's always more. So, and that's really exciting. There's always more to learn. But I think that lots of it, if not all, it starts with self, and without that self-love. And I look back at how different I was and how far I've come from a place when I did not have any self regard, low self worth, and all of that, and how different life is, and your impact on, those around you. The ripple effect of loving yourself is so incredibly beautiful.
Oh, it's huge. The relationship you have reflects the relationship of you have with everyone else in your
Mm,
life and yeah, what you attract to you as well. So it truly
mm.
is, yeah, the most powerful thing you can do. And how can people find your book when it's
Oh,
live?
thank you. So exciting. So look out on my Instagram, evolve with underscore grace underscore and Stella Grace on Facebook. And my website is www.stellagrace.me. And on there will be very soon my new swivel book, From Grit to Grace. That is like a taster for the full book. So I'm really excited. So yeah, it will all be on my socials and on my website. And there's going to be a really nice offer for people who want to grab the swivel book, and it will link into a pre-order and a bit of a deal with the full book that is coming out next year. So I'm really, really excited.
Love it. I will link Stella's details in the caption below so anyone can find her easily. Also, highly recommend Stella's Reiki services as well for anyone that's interested. We had a distance Reiki session, so you can do it anywhere, well, I would say anytime, but when you when you decide a time together. But yeah, you can do it distance too. So loved having you on
Yeah.
here.
Thank you so much. Can I just really quickly mention if people
Yeah.
are interested in well-being and loving themselves and all of the kind of beautiful things we've talked about today, I also offer like self-care subscriptions and packages because I really recognize as well that if I don't book in the time to love myself and do this work, it doesn't happen because of the schedule. So I'm really aware of that. So I've put together some nice packages and offers for people who want to, invest in themselves and just go on that journey.
Love it. Amazing. Hope everyone has an amazing rest of your day. Mwah.
Thank you for having me. Bye.